Meh. Sheepland is the sequel to 2020's Sheep Theatre, a film which was made solo during the COVID lockdowns by Dan Lotz of $5 Film School, about a man whose life collapses after the sudden death of his wife and whose grief is exasperated by paranormal activities which manifest as stuffed sheep. Sheepland continues the story of Dan and his friend the ghost hunter as they enter to the paranormal realm known as Sheepland. So the first 10 minutes of this film I thought were hilarious. The banter between Dan and the sheep and Dan and Joel the ghost hunter are real heartwarmers, and they set up the conflict for the rest of the film perfectly.
You did a good job. You didn't wet yourself.
That conflict being that the happiest moments can become the saddest in an instant. The cinematography seems to echo this conflict as well, with using darkness and green in a way which can be read as fantastical and wondrous, a return to health and nature and revival, but can also be terrifying. Everything feels like it teeters between the two, emerging from and dissipating into the time fog. But even though we feel that constant swaying and fear, we would normally be shouting at the screen telling a character to not go in there, don't do that. But in this instance we feel connected to Dan's grief, because we've felt it too. We've had our laughter and warmth taken away, no spoilers, but we have. And so we now want Dan to face that terror, in the hope that he can weather whatever storm that makes, and wash back up on sea on an even keel again.
I know where she is.
Great.
It's a really engrossing conflict to engage with, I think, partly because it's so bizarre. I think sort of grief as a ghost story, where grief as a ghost story that must be laid to rest has been done before, probably numerous times. But in an alternate universe featuring multiple species of stuffed animals, I don't think so. I mean, what does it all mean, and how's it going to help me through my bad time? I don't know. Am I even trying to find an answer, or am I just distracting myself and hiding from my problems? Is Dan? Who knows?
Sometimes you just take things in. You just got to take it in sometimes.
But it's entertaining to think about. I've seen some criticism of this film as being too muddled or incoherent or inconsistent, but I feel like they're all part of the bigger picture. Like this is Dan's character's film, and he could be an unreliable narrator. Who knows? Like we could be just trapped inside his fractured mind, because that's what it feels like. It feels like it has the sort of dream logic where anything can change at any moment. You know, it makes total nonsense to me. It made me feel weightless. I think that's the best way. It's like being in the comfiest bed ever, but you just keep sinking deeper and deeper into it, and you might never get out. Which is kind of what depression is. I mean, that's that's how I feel the film is. I think I feel like we're on a wave of depression. We can, because the humour at the start comes back again, and then it goes, and then it comes and goes, and we're constantly bouncing between these two things. You know, the things that can pull you out of a depression, and then the things that can just snap you back into it. That's how it felt. I don't know how to conclude this review now, because I think the bed analogy metaphor thing was so perfect for it. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you might even scream. Spend some time with Dan in Sheepland. It's available to watch for free on YouTube, and the link will be in the description as always. Please do give it a watch. If you do, tell them we sent you. We are the Don't Tell Show. If you liked, please subscribe.